Yo, party people, what is up? How about that episode of Dynamite that just went down? Pretty solid episode. We had some good stuff, some like weird stuff that's gotten some like mixed reactions, some certain segments and all that stuff, and maybe some unintentional, unexpected F-bombs dropped by a certain Rick Ross. But overall, really good action, and it was a pretty solid show. Pretty great holiday bash. Don't worry, guys, the fun doesn't stop just because the show went off the air. Because the newest episode of The Gift of Gabe covering Dynamite is about to start right, you guessed it, now. Alright, you guys. First, let's talk about that Rick Ross, Keith Lee, and Swerve segment. Not hating on it really at all. I think it got the job done that it was supposed to. Got some unexpected stuff in there. I did not expect Swerve to be having, a whole new group, what they call mogul affiliates. Look, I get why the segment is like, some of you are like, oh yeah, I love it. Some are like, well, that was kind of mid, or like I really didn't like it. I get it. Maybe Rick Ross like ad-libbing during the whole thing and like constantly like being on the mic, like even sometimes like when like Rats or Swerve would say something, kind of like made the segment feel a little bit weird. And maybe the introduction of those two guys, like Parker Burgell, I don't even know who that other freaking guy was. Maybe I'll find that out tomorrow morning. I don't know. Maybe you could have just had them both attack Keith Lee at the same time instead of like one after the other. But it got the job done. But I think we all can agree that Swerve stomp on Keith Lee with the cinder block, that was pretty cool. And plus, it's Swerve. So anything that he does literally like turns to, like, he's like MJF said, like he's like, in terms of talking about Ricky Starks, I'm gonna use it talking about Swerve. When you put him under pressure, he becomes a diamond. Trust me, I think he's gonna be just fine. The segment could have been better, but not every segment's gonna be like a whole home run, knock it out of the park. I think it got the job exactly done for what it was supposed to. Give it up for Swerve. His future is still bright. And hell, maybe this could be a hell of a, maybe it's not even a faction to win. Maybe it's just gonna help him like get a title and help him retain it. Kind of like Hit Row. So, like back in WWE. So, honestly, segment was a little but I think it's going to get the job done. Swerve is a star. He's going to be one of the best heel acts. I can't wait for Keith Lee and Swerve's program to now officially start. And plus, Keith's going to have to find somebody to help him with the numbers game. But then again, he's a big dude. But Swerve's got two big dudes now, too. So, anyway, it's going to be pretty good. I can't wait to see the rest of this. It's going to be great. All right, you guys, let's just take a moment, give a quick round of applause to the ladies. Give it up for Hikaru Shida and Jamie Hayter. I didn't expect that to be the main event. I almost kind of thought it was going to be the trios, best of 7 series match, but it made sense. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of the one real title fight, so that makes sense for it being the main event. They did not disappoint. Jamie Hayter's reign is starting off great. Literally killed it against Shida, which I'm not surprised either of these two could do that. I mean, Shida literally carried the company through the pandemic, and Jamie Hayter, literally when you started off this year, you're like, she probably won't be world champion. She literally made us want to have her as world champion, or else. Can I literally say or else, because it was Jamie Hayter champion or we riot. For real. Not even playing. So, great way for her to start off her title reign with a little banger against Hikaru Shida. But even though the match was over, she got attacked by the returning Toni Storm and then Saraya. Still kind of like wondering, who Saraya's partner is going to be, for this match like that's coming on the Dynamite for January 11th. It's going to be really good, but I'm curious on who it's going to be. Could it be Sasha Banks or Mercedes Renardo, which is her actual real name? Could it be somebody else? Either way, it's going to be good. And we're all just, counting down the seconds, the minutes, the days, until we know the eventual is going to happen of Britt Baker turning on Jamie Hayter or Jamie turning on Britt. Either way, them finally breaking off from each other and having that big payoff feud of like basically, I wouldn't want to say teacher versus student, of just best friends, as Britt will, because they call them best friends, and Britt and Jamie does too. Either way, you guys, give it up one more time for Jamie, for Hikaru Shida. Great main event, one of the best women's main events. There's only been 4 of Dynamite, and that one was definitely one of the top ones. Great job, ladies, but y'all expect anything different. So, even though it wasn't the main event, the Elites match against Death Triangle, match 5 of the best of 7 series, no DQ, was totally another banger. It was great. The rules have been thrown out the window. The rule book has literally been burned to a freaking crisp. The rude rule doesn't even have a freaking meaning in these next few matches because they said after the rules, we're going to do whatever we want. The match was great. You saw a lot of cool stuff. You saw trash cans, freaking steel chairs, and a freaking, of course, Kenny being who he is, a little barbed wire broom, which I'm glad was used, but you could tell they were trying to like stop using that because, you know, that one end was so hanging off at one point that like it literally was catching on like Phoenix's like tights and even Kenny's shirt. He's like, get this off of me. So I'm like, yeah, they're like, okay, we're just going to move away from that. And of course, our favorite tables. But the match was great. As we expected, the Elite got the dub. They're only down now 3-2, trying to pull off the LeBron kind of comeback for like the Cavaliers back in 2016. I think the Elite's going to do it. I think they're going to win this whole thing. I said that from freaking the beginning. And we all know that it's going to be totally great, the rest of what we're going for. Next week's match, Falls Count Anywhere. And the Elite's going to have some beef, extra beef. My God, how much beef do they have with them at this point? They've been cheating to win the first 3 matches, and then they beat them down to like Nick's bloody pulp at the end of last night's match because they freaking lost. So the beef is through the roof. They're going to have so many receipts to cash in on Death Triangle's ass. But they're going to win next week. Then they're going to take a little breather to, you know, go wrestle in Wrestle Kingdom for Kenny versus Ospreay. And they're going to come back to the States January 11th, Dynamite in Escalarte de la Muerte. I think I finally got it this time. Ladder match. Guys, the rest of the series is just... we're in match 5, but I feel like we're just getting started because the next 2 matches are going to be so freaking great because these are the 6 best athletes in the world, 2 of the best trios in the world. So, buckle in and get ready for the rest of this ride. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to be crazy, but man, is it going to be fun. Don't stop watching. So, FTR lost to the Gun Club. Didn't see it coming. Just letting y'all sink that in a little bit if it hasn't already. I know some of you aren't loving it. I know, but like me, some of y'all actually do get it because if you listen to the announcers, even though it wasn't expected, it was explained pretty well and you know why it's actually happening. FTR has been on kind of like a 3-match losing streak, which is almost like never happened before. And it's all kind of been centered around the Guns in some way, shape, or form. Their loss for the tag titles. Their loss to Swerve and Gory and like their number 1 contenders match. Their loss to them boys, the Briscoes, at Final Battle. Like it's all kind of like intertwined with like the thing that's been going on with the Ass Boys and them being some sort of a distraction, both, you know, mentally and, you know, physically. So it is explained and I get it. I'm guessing this is probably going to lead to like the Guns saying, we killed FTR's legacy, but now we're going to kill their title reigns when we take... I don't know which title they're going to really take, but they said they don't really want them. They want the AEW tag team titles. But I feel like this feud's not over, and maybe they'll give us like a title match between both teams, you know, like in like the couple, like few new episodes of Dynamite to kick off the year. I feel like this isn't over. FTR is going to like get their momentum back, and then, you know, see where we go from there because they said they want to like maybe take a break once like, you know, their deal settled down. Just like maybe test like the waters in some indie companies. They're not going back to WWE, you guys. They're staying here in AEW. There's literally has been nothing wrong with them being here in AEW, so I don't think they're going back WWE bound like some of you guys think. They're just taking a little break, coming back. It's going to be good stuff. But they'll probably finish whatever stuff they got with the Guns. Before then, you know, stop their losing streak and, you know, beat down them Ass Boys, you know, like they owe them money. Because they kind of do. So, it was pretty good. An unexpected outcome, but I get it. Okay, you guys. Let's just talk about probably one of the best parts, if not the best part of the show. Absolute Ricky Starks. That promo on Jericho, a couple weeks after he totally grilled MJF, he grilled Chris Jericho, the Wizard, the Demo God, the Ocho, whatever version you want to call him because he keeps reinventing himself. He burned every single one of them in just one segment. That was hilarious. Ricky Starks is a gem. And honestly, he mentioned coming back for MJF at some point. Hey, in like a year, because you know that's pretty much how long the Reign of Terror is probably going to last. Have Ricky Starks come back, literally, like you said, work his way up, and then boom, stick him against MJF again, and have him get his crowning moment as absolute AEW World Champion. You know, I think he's going to be champion either way next year. I think he's going to probably maybe be like TNT champion, you know, beat Samoa Joe. But then, hey, give him the world title right after that. Long-term storytelling, you guys. He absolutely deserves it. Got it off to a great start with just this promo battle with Jericho. Jericho is going to help you. He's going to help you make it a star. Action and Andretti, just an example. But I loved it, and it set up a match for between these two on the first Dynamite of the year with, its promised new setup and all that stuff with Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho. I got Ricky Starks winning that one, you guys. I think they're just going to keep like he said, pushing him up, make him work his way back to the top. If he gets a title reign of some other kind in there, good. But then keep pushing him up until, boom, find himself right back at MJF's doorstep, and this time actually could beat him. I'm all for that. So let's get it all started with that match on January 4th. But just the segment itself, it was great. Ricky literally can do it on the mic. You could literally see the comparisons why he's compared to The Rock. But he is his own. He is absolute Ricky Starks. He ain't playing around. This is his time, and he's a future champion, future world champion very soon, and it is going to be this may be the reign of terror, when, God forbid, when Ricky Starks wins, it's going to be the absolute reign of amazingness when he finally holds that big gold strap. It's going to be great. But he kind of got the beat down by, Jake Hager, who likes his hat, by the way, and the rest of the JAS before Action Andretti showed up to make the save. A little split leg moonsault action was pretty good before, he got freaking burned with a freaking fireball because, the Wizard decided to make a comeback since the Ocho was, pissed. So, I love the segment. I love Ricky Starks. This is a Ricky Starks appreciation show. It was absolute, and I love it. Cannot wait for Jericho Starks on January 4th, the first Dynamite of the year. That's going to be a hell of a main event. That's not good enough. It's going to be absolute! Alright, you guys. I hope you enjoyed tonight's AEW Dynamite edition Holiday Bash. I hope you enjoyed this episode to get to Gabe to hear what your boy, the best gabber in the biz, has to say after the show. Don't worry, guys. I will be back next week. Actually, ironically, next Wednesday, with all the holiday craziness. We'll be doing SmackDown Rampage, and then Raw is literally just the best of 2022 show. So, next Wednesday, you guys, Dynamite Holiday Bash, match 6 of the best of 7 series between the Elite and Death Triangle. Falls Count Anywhere. And what I'm assuming is going to be the main event, Samoa Joe, the king of television, defending against Wardlow. It's going to be great. And then finally, next Friday night, it is SmackDown, the final one of the year. The mega match that we never knew we needed, but we were all freaking so glad that we are getting. A banger way to close out 2022 when John Cena teams up with Kevin Owens against the Tribal Chief and the certified usologist, Sami Zayn. Guys, you're not going to want to miss those shows. You're not going to want to miss what your boy has to say after those shows. We're closing out this year with a bang. It is going to be so great. But that's next week. Just for this week, enjoy the holidays. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to you all. Thank you for all going on this ride with me. We're almost towards the end of this year to more amazing stuff. But until then, Merry Christmas, you guys. I'll see y'all next week after next week's Dynamite. Deuces, Later.